So we're going to do a sequence to stoke the fire of motivation today. We're going to work a lot with the solar plexus, which is the third chakra. It's this big, big space. Sometimes I've described it like a beach ball in the middle of you. It's the area where the ribs are. It's above the navel and below the breastbone, this big midsection area. And when we work with chakras, they have a color attached to them, and the color for the solar plexus is yellow, a sunny, bright yellow. So I'm going to remind you throughout the class to bring attention here, and we'll do a couple of exercises that really focus specifically here. Before we do, let's sit comfortably, and I'm going to tell you about Ujjayi breathing. Some of you will have done this with me before. The idea with Ujjayi breathing is to slow the breath down and make a sound as you breathe. And sometimes the sound sounds a little bit like the ocean, or my favorite description is Darth Vader. It's got that kind of breathiness to it. So the way that we describe it is you're going to keep your lips closed. You're going to breathe through your nose only, but it's kind of like you were saying the letter A. So if you had to say the letter A while breathing with your lips closed, that's the closest I can describe for an Ujjayi breath. So let's just give that a try. Let it be just a very rough draft try. Breathe in through your nose, out through your nose, imagining saying the letter A. Now do it again, and as you breathe in this time, also imagine saying the letter A. If this makes absolutely no sense to you, then don't worry about it. Let it go and just breathe. Any breathing is good breathing. And if this is starting to work for you, however, we're going to close our eyes if that's comfortable. Sit comfortably with the shoulders low and start to pay attention. Bring attention to this big area of the solar plexus. So use the Ujjayi breath if you wish, or any other breath style. Breathing in and out with focus at the solar plexus. And it should slow the breath down. The use of the Ujjayi extends both the in and the out. Now, when that breath is finished, just start to breathe normally. I'm going to invite you to set an intention. So continue to sit as you are. Breathe comfortably. I'm just going to let you know that we're doing a practice that was created by Larissa Hall Carlson from an older version of Yoga Journal magazine. And the practice is an invigorating one. And she describes, in Ayurvedic terms, and this is an Ayurvedic practice, twists help squeeze out sluggishness, and balancing poses build heat quickly. Both require effort and concentration. Your challenge is to maintain a calm mind and amid all of the physical work, And when you're able to do this, you'll emerge from the practice feeling clear and radiant. And I kind of liked those words, clear and radiant. So we're going to sit for a moment to set an intention for our practice today. And if one of those words resonates for you, clear or radiant, feel free to use that as your intention, or maybe there's something else. So take a moment to just sit and breathe. Any breathing will do here. And ask yourself, what is my intention for my practice today? And take a couple of breaths for it to come to you. And another couple of breaths to release that intention. And I invite you to take your thumb into your hand. Inhale as you raise your arms up. Keep your attention focused at the solar plexus throughout. This big area here, at the area of the ribs. Breathe in through the nose and all the way out through the mouth. Put your hands together and 2 breaths in the nose. Out through the mouth. Bring the hands up and then behind the neck or in front of the neck if that's better. And keep your attention at the solar plexus. Full extension as you breathe in. And slow hands towards heart as you breathe out. Pardon me. And a breath at the heart. Extend your arms, either the back of the wrists resting on the knees, or the hands flat beside you, or perhaps you've decided to stand or sit a different way, so find a way to be comfortable. Lengthen your spine, drop your shoulders, and let's lift one ear towards the sky, inviting a gentle stretch into the neck. And here you have the choice of 2 regular breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Or if you were enjoying the Ujjayi breath, you can apply that here. Just allow the stretch to happen. Hanging out here, another breath. As you're ready, over to the other side. Same thing. Let's do each side again. More opportunity for your neck to really let go. And over to the other side. When that feels complete, come back to center. Keep the shoulders low, and we'll take the head side to side, looking at the spot on the side wall. And again, 2 breaths. And bring your attention to your solar plexus as you breathe. Over to the other side when you're ready. 2 breaths at the solar plexus. Come back to center. Drop your chin toward your chest. And 3 breaths here, just letting the head hang, getting the stretch for the back of the neck. Stay focused at the solar plexus. And walk your eyes across the floor, up the opposite wall, and across the ceiling, just as far as your eyes and your neck wish to take you. And then open your mouth for a couple of big breaths, still focused at solar plexus. Walk the eyes slowly back until your chin is on your chest. Again, for 2 more breaths. Stay with the solar plexus. And then let your head float forward. Excellent. Put 1 set of fingers beside you, the other arm up to your ear. And today we're going to walk those fingers away from you, engaging in the side bend, feeling the openness that happens at least in one side of the ribs, and seeing if you can also remain open in the other side of the ribs. And 2 breaths, solar plexus. And come back to center and switch arms. one up. And then engage in that side bend, walking the long fingers away from you, extending both your sides and breathing into solar plexus. Come on back to center. Excellent. We're going to do some gentle warming up for our backs. You'll recognize all these poses. And then we'll be warmed up enough to get into our more invigorating fire stoking practice. So please come to lying on your back. As comfortable as you can get. Feel the length of your spine. Bring your shoulders low down your body. Feel the back of the shoulder blades on the floor. And you might want to get rid of your socks here. We don't need our feet just yet, but we will. And you've got two choices with your arms. One choice is to leave your arms down by your sides. The other choice is to bring your arms into this cactus position, where the elbows come out from shoulder height and the hands are at right angles from elbows. Cactus position helps to open up, obviously, across the chest, across the shoulders. And now we'll take one ankle and place it against the other thigh. So we've got that cross-legged feeling. We've got one foot that's still down on the floor. Let's lift that up. Bringing your hips and your legs towards you just for 3 easy breaths here. Noticing what's happening in your body. What are you feeling? And for the third breath, can you really notice the solar plexus? We've kept them open in this position. And then change legs. Other ankle rests on other thigh. Lift legs up, bring towards you. And stay aware and open in the solar plexus for your 3 breaths here. Still noticing what else you feel in the body. Good. Bring both knees in towards your chest. Open your arms now long, so from shoulders on out. The arms are extended along the floor. And then we're simply going to flop both knees to the same side with a thud. So both knees over to one side. Crash to the ground. A little self-chiropractics there in our low back. And we're just holding now. We want to rest the feet right down on the floor. So change the position of your legs so that that's possible. And then let's spend 3 breaths really releasing, letting go of any tightness here. And again, an invitation to bring some awareness to the area of the solar plexus as you breathe. After 3 breaths, bring those knees back to center. And let's flop them the other way with a thud. Stay open through your shoulders. Maybe the shoulder blades have remained on the floor. Rest your feet right down and 3 releasing breaths. After 3 breaths, bring those knees back to center, feet back down on the ground. We're going to bring one knee into the chest now and interlace the fingers around the hamstring. And 2 things happen simultaneously. You're going to keep pulling the leg a little bit closer towards the body at the same time as your heel is extending up skywards. We've got opposing forces now. Heel aiming towards the sky, fingers pulling your leg a little closer to you, and that should give you a long leg stretch. And 3 more breaths. Can you stay open through the solar plexus, even in this position? Before we leave here, let's do just a little pointing and flexing. Point the toes towards the sky. See how that feels in your foot and your leg. Flex again, a little more exaggerated flex. Oh, I really feel this one. A little pointing and flexing. And bring it in, and let's do the other side. Other knee comes in. Interlace the fingers around the hamstring, and same thing. Pull the leg in towards the body at the same time as you stretch your heel skyward with a flexed foot. And breathe. Now for some of you, your knee will be able to straighten, so you've got a really straight leg. And for others, that'll be a little too intense and you'll have to keep some bend in the knee. Both are good. Just notice how your leg is. Keep breathing into the solar plexus. And let's try a little bit of pointing the toes skyward and then really exaggerated flex. Pointing and flexing. And bring that in. Excellent work. Bring your arms beside you. Your knees are still up. Your feet are flat on the floor. Everything is hip width apart. Your heels are hip width. Your knees are hip width. We're pressing all the toes into the mat, especially the big toes. By pressing the big toes, we're also starting to activate a line up the inner thighs and encouraging ourselves now to squeeze the Kegel internally. Squeeze your low abdominal muscles down towards your spine so that your core is activated as you lift your tailbone up and then keep on going up into bridge. So 1 vertebra at a time, lifts off the ground as you lift your hips up into bridge pose. Once you're at the top, you'll hold there for a moment and then head back down slowly, 1 vertebra at a time, warming up the back. When you're back down, take a moment and then reactivate everything. Push those big toes into the mat. Squeeze your core. Lift your tailbone and then 1 vertebra at a time brings your hips up off the ground. Just breathe as you need to. Pause once you're up at the top. And then 1 vertebra at a time brings you down. Let's do it one more time. So same thing. Press the big toes. Squeeze your core. Start to lift 1 vertebra at a time up off the ground. Feel the length through the back of the neck now. The chin comes close to the chest. Take a moment to notice your ribs. So in bridge pose, our ribs are up nice and high, but we actually want to keep them in line with the body. So if your ribs are popping out like they're the highest part of you, see if you can contain them a little bit. We want the ribs to stay in line with the body in the same way that they would be if you were standing. So we're not forcing the rib cage up and out in this pose. And let's bring it down 1 vertebra at a time. Beautiful. Hug your knees into your chest, rock side to side. And if it feels good, stretch yourself way out, stretch your legs out, stretch your hands and arms out, get as long as you can. Excellent. So we're going to start to move to the more invigorating part of the class. We're going to be moving from lying up to standing. One way I invite you to do that today is with some good core strength. So try, see if this works for you. If it doesn't, get up a different way. So you're going to bring your arms so that the hands are reaching for the ceiling. You're going to try and make your legs really heavy. So press your heels into the ground, anchor your legs to the ground. Now take a breath in and nod your chin towards your chest and see if you can peel your back one vertebra at a time up off the ground as you bring yourself to this seated position. Anchor those legs, keep them heavy, and then extend the arms. Good, excellent. Our first warm up to start building some heat is our reverse plank. So we haven't got to standing yet. While we're in the seated position, we're going to make good use of it. Sitting in this L shape, your legs are extended out long. Your arms start to reach forward as you take a breath. Hinge forward from your hip crease. Keep your back straight as you breathe out. Pause to breathe in. Hinge forward a little further. Reach your arms a little further in front of you as you breathe out. Pause to breathe in. Hinge forward and reach again. Pause. One more time, reach forward, breathing out. Then turn your hands over, hold one hand onto the other, tuck in your head, and breathe in as you bring yourself up to full height. Breathe out, hands come behind you. Turn your fingers so that they're pointed towards your body now. And we're starting to lean back to put a little bit of weight on the wrists, a little bit of weight on the palms, maybe feeling it in the forearms a bit. So you'll know if your wrists are sore, even as you put a little bit of weight on them, then just keep it here. Don't do the reverse plank. If your wrists are feeling good today, then you can put a little more weight onto your wrists and palms, squeeze your core, and lift your hips off the ground. Breathing in. If the neck feels okay today, you can drop it behind you, breathing out. Breathe in to return the head to center. Breathe out to bring the hips back down. Bring those arms in front of you. We're going to do it again. Shoulders low, taking a breath in this tall L-shaped body, legs out, torso straight, arms reaching. And then as you breathe out, fold forward from your hip crease, keep your back straight. Pause to breathe in. Reach as you breathe out. Pause to breathe in. Reach, breathing out. We're breathing pretty forcefully here. Pause to breathe in. Reach, breathing out. Tuck in your head, turn your hands over to hold on to each other. Inhale as you raise your arms up. Exhale, arms behind. Your choice of fingers pointed away from the body, or just like we did last time, pointing the fingers toward the body. That's my preference. Lean back, put a little more weight on those wrists. Squeeze your core, and when you're ready, breathe in and lift your hips. If your neck is well, breathe out and drop the head. Breathe in, return the head. Breathe out, return the hips. Excellent. Shake that out. Have a sip of water, and we're going to stand up. So come to standing any way that you're able. Shake those legs out. Let's position. Feet hip width apart. Toes spread. Knees slightly bent. Spine tall. All the way up through the crown of the head. Shoulders low. And get a sense here of the solar plexus. So again, we're not trying to pop the ribs out. We're not trying to lift our chests in such an exaggerated way that those ribs just stick right out in front of you. We're trying to keep the back and spine in good alignment, like we would any time that we stand. So even though you're breathing into solar plexus and focus there, there's no exaggeration of shape. So a couple of breaths, breathing here. So because this chakra has, one of the ways that it represents us is to give us an expression of our values, our sense of power, our sense of willpower, our ability to decide, our sense of motivation. All of those things exist here in the solar plexus. One exercise that is recommended is there are times where either if we're in conflict with others or if we're not feeling we're not feeling our own sense of personal power, we're feeling weakened or defeated. An exercise that's recommended is to imagine that there's a golden disc here. So whatever in your mind's eye a golden disc looks like, remembering the solar plexus is that sunny yellow. So a golden disc protecting this whole area is a recommended practice for anyone who's trying to just be aware that there are other energies trying to, sometimes that we have to be careful about not taking into ourselves. So that golden disc can be protective of keeping your own sense of who you are, rooted in your values and integrity, separate from maybe other things that are trying to disturb that. One more breath here. And let's take it into a tree pose. So you want to ground one of your legs, grow those roots, really feel your connection to the earth. Find your eyes and eye focus. And when you're ready, you're going to turn the other knee out. And maybe you just keep your toes down. Or if you're feeling stable and balanced, you can lift the leg up to whatever height feels right for your tree pose. Keep grounding through the long leg. And then choose if you'd like to have your hands at the heart or your hands above or even a wide V. And breathe. Perhaps focus in the solar plexus if you're able. You are rooted here to the earth with your values and your integrity. And you can decide how long to hold this side. Maybe you've already wrapped up that one side. You decide when to change to the other. When you are ready to switch, make sure you're rooting the other leg, really feeling that connection to earth first, then getting the eye focus connection, breathing in, and when you're ready, when you're balanced, breathing out and deciding where you'd like your leg to go. Awareness in the solar plexus. And when you're ready, coming on out of that. Good. So maybe you did one on each side, maybe you did a couple on each side, maybe you did a different balance. All of what you chose there was good. You're using your sense of your own personal will to make a decision. And if you've done that, it's the right one. Don't look back. That was great. Let's go into a forward release, which will take us into a bit of a flow sequence that is different than what we've usually done based on this Ayurvedic motivation-inspired practice. So starting at the top of your mat, because we're going to do a forward release and then step one of our legs back. Not for sun salutation, but it's got some similarities. Feet are hip width. Stand tall. Shoulders low. Take a breath. When you're ready, drop your chin towards your chest and start to roll down one vertebra at a time. You're deciding how far to go, when to pause and to breathe whenever you find some sore spots in the back. Keeping your chin pretty close to your chest. Keeping your knees bent. Adding variations here if you want to. One option is to straighten one leg if you're hanging all the way down from your hips. Then to bend both and straighten the other leg if you wish. Plant your fingers down onto the mat. So your fingers are taking just a little bit of weight, allowing you to step your right leg behind you. So take a moment to position the legs at whatever distance feels good for you. Maybe you get a little bit of a sense of a stretch through the hips or hip flexors. Just one breath there, and then bring the right knee down. And if your knees give you any trouble, of course, throw a little cushion, towel, whatever you need to under the knee. And then reposition. Feel the distance between your front heel and your back knee. Make that how you'd like it to be. And then point your back toes. When you feel stable here through the legs, bring your body back up to upright, hands at heart. And if twists are okay for your back, we're going to lean forward and twist so that if you're using the same side as me, I'm going to twist so that the right elbow is on the outside of the left knee. And let's hold 3 breaths. And come on back to center. Plant your hands down again. Curl your back toes so that you can straighten that leg and take some weight. And bring your back toes a little bit forward so that there's a shortened distance between your 2 feet. Keep your keep your right hand down on the ground. So the opposite hand is your forward foot. And we're going to take the left hand, if you're using the same side as me, and place it on the low back. Now, this is so much easier if we were in Champlain Heights or somewhere where we had a block. We would bring the floor closer to us by putting our hand on a block. So if you have that, or if you have a low stool or a piece of furniture, that might make this a little bit easier for you. This is quite a long reach down to the floor. So now we've got one elbow that's up in the sky. We're going to invite a twist here by starting to turn the body to imagine looking up at that elbow. You might not get all the way. Just start the twist. Good, then bring that back. Step your back foot to match your front foot. Round yourself back up. Excellent. Take your hands, the gentle fists, flat side of the fist into the low back. Bring the elbows toward each other. And now let your eyes look up at the ceiling. Open your mouth and breathe. Walk the eyes back. We're going directly into a chair pose with twist as well. Take your arms up into the sky. I'll do it so I'm facing you. Feet are hip width apart. Hands are hip width apart. Shoulders are low. Breathe in. And sit as you breathe out as though you were sitting in a chair. Keep your knees hip width apart. Don't let them fall in or out. And bring your hands towards your heart and take an extra breath. And notice how your back is doing. We warmed up a little bit, but if you're having a difficult back day, then you don't want to do maybe as many twists. So maybe you just hold your chair here. If twists are okay for you, we're twisting the same direction as we did for this first part of the sequence. So for me, that's taking my right elbow over onto the outside of the left leg and 3 breaths. In a moment, we'll do all of this on the other side. And bring it on back to center and stand back up. Shake it out. We're going to do another chair with an option to be up on your tiptoes. So, see how it feels to just extend yourself up onto your toes and then lower your heels back down. Do that a couple times. Lift your heels off the ground so that you're up on your toes. And lower your heels back down. If that's a challenge, of course, just do a regular chair pose. You don't have to do it on the toes. If that felt okay for you, then lift your heels off the ground. Lift your arms up as you breathe in. Keeping your heels off the ground, now sit into chair. Bring the hands to heart. And we're not going to be twisting from this position, but we are going to move the arms. So if you're okay to hold the heels up, we're going to stretch the arms out in front of us. Breathe in. As you breathe out, bring them back to heart. Breathe in, reaching forward. Breathe out, hands to heart. One more time, do it with awareness of solar plexus. We're building heat. Come back to standing. Drop those heels. Shake out your legs. Well done. Excellent. Let's go back and do all of that again on the other side. Have a sip of water first. Come to the top of your mat. Stand with your feet hip width apart, knees bent, stand tall. Take a breath here in mountain pose. Have some awareness of your solar plexus and maybe that golden disc protecting. When you're ready, drop your chin onto your chest and start your forward release. One vertebra at a time towards ground. Variations, if you wish, of straightening each leg, or any other variations that you've done here in the past. Then fingers down on the mat, and this time step the left leg way behind you. Find the right distance that you'd like to have between your feet. Hold there for a breath, just noticing the hips and hip flexors. Then bring the back knee down onto a cushion if you wish, and point the back toes. Again, readjust the distance between your front heel and your back knee. And when you're ready, bring the body to upright. Hands at heart. Tip yourself forward, and if twists are okay on this side, twist the left elbow onto the outside of the right knee, and 3 breaths here. Breathe into the solar plexus. Come back to center, hands back down. Curl your back toes so that you can straighten your back knee and step your back leg a little bit forward, maybe halfway, so that you can start to straighten both your legs. So the hand that stays on the floor is the opposite one as your forward foot. So for me, that's my left fingers that stay on the ground. My right hand is going to come up to my low back. I'm going to hold here for a couple of breaths. My front knee is slightly bent. My back leg is mostly straight. And then, if the twist is okay in this position, you're going to start to imagine that you're looking up towards your top elbow. Just whatever amount works for you. And let's breathe and build some heat. Then come on back down. Bring your hands back. Step your back leg forward and round yourself back up. Let's equalize that by making the gentle fist shape. Flat side goes into the low back. Bring my elbows towards each other. Eyes walk up. Open your mouth and breathe. Walk the eyes back. Shake out the arms. We're going to do chair pose like we did, but on the other side this time. Plant your feet hip width apart. Toes are spread. Breathe in as you lift your arms up overhead. Shoulders remain low. As you breathe out, you're sitting as though into chair. Bring the hands to heart. So we're twisting the other way now. So for me, that's my left elbow going towards or on the outside of the right knee. And 3 breaths. Breathing into solar plexus. And noticing if we're building heat. back to center. Come to standing. Shake that out. Wiggle the hips, wiggle the knees. Like last time, we get another opportunity to do this up on our toes. So if that worked for you, we get it again. If not, then do a regular chair with the feet down or any other pose you wish. Breathe in. Lift the arms now just to reach ahead of you. Lift the heels off the ground. Start to sit as though in chair, keeping the knees hip width apart, keeping the shoulders low. If you can keep your heels off the floor, we'll now do those forceful breaths. Breathing in, bringing the hands to heart. Breathing out, pushing the arms forward. And make the breath work. Forceful breaths out. Solid breath in. Forceful out. And come to standing and shake out those legs. Well done. Got another balance that's part of this sequence. And you might guess it's a little bit challenging. So I'm going to give you lots of options. I cannot demonstrate this balance properly because it is one that requires a leg be straightened out in front of you. My legs are so tight that I will always have a bend in my knee. So that might be true for you. Maybe you also need a bend in your knee, or you might be able to straighten your leg. You're about to find out. Ground one foot. Grow roots. Bring the other leg up and find your eye focus so that you can hold balanced. See if you can take the same hand as your standing support leg, so for me that's my left, and grab onto the opposite toe. Good. So this is plenty. If you can stay balanced and do this, fabulous, you're already there. If you want more, you're going to attempt to start to straighten that leg. Breathing, keeping your eye focused. And it's okay to straighten the leg either straight forward or a little diagonal, a little bit off to the side. And if it helps for balance, feel free to reach the other arm out and breathe. Remember, we're trying to build heat. So anything you're doing that's building some heat in your body is good. If there's shaking, that's definitely building heat. Breathe in. Whew, let it go. Shake out those legs. Good. Let's do the other side. Ground your other foot. Lift your other knee. It's the same hand as the stable support leg that's doing the grabbing of the opposite toes. Take a breath. Find your eye focus. See how it is. Start to straighten this leg. Keep your eyes focused. Feel free to extend the other arm as a counterpoint and breathe. If this feels impossible, go back to any balance that you know works for you. Bring it back in. Let it go. Shake it out. Have a sip of water. One more hard balance to do. And again, this is one where if we had a block or a low stool, this would help to bring the floor a little closer to our hands. So if you do have that, I invite you to go get it. If not, we'll work with what we got, the floor. So we've done half moon balance pose many times before. This is a version of half moon that's called revolved half moon, because you do, instead of the same hand and foot being the ones to anchor you, it's one foot and the opposite hand, which creates that twist shape in the body. So point one of your toes towards the short end of your mat. Start to feel the bend there like we normally would do with warrior. Instead of the same hand as that foot going down, we're going to take the opposite hand down onto the floor. We're going to put the same hand as the toes pointed at the short end on your low back, just like we did earlier for that twist. When you feel ready, you're going to start to take a little bit more weight onto the foot, the support foot, lifting your other toes off the ground. I'm realizing you can't see my head because I'm going through the doorway. All right. Starting to lift the back leg up. Excellent. Keeping the fingers either on the block or on the floor. You decide how high the leg can come behind you. And now the hard part. Just like we did with the pose with our elbow up in the sky last time, same thing. We're imagining just a little start of a twist with the eyes and the head and the body starting to revolve towards the up elbow. And bring the foot back down, bring the body back, come to standing. Great. Lots of shaking in that one for me. That is a huge challenge. Let's try the other side. So it's the other foot now pointed at the short end of your mat. So for me, that's my left. Opposite hand is coming down onto the mat. Free hand that you haven't used is being placed on your low back, leaving your elbow pointing skyward. So same thing, starting to put a little more weight on the front foot, starting to lift the back leg off the ground, whatever height you wish. And then starting to revolve the body in this twist shape, looking up towards the top elbow and breathing. Twisting back to center, foot comes down, and stand back up. Just to extend the body to equalize, let's place the feet hip-width apart, lift the arms up high, maybe into a gentle back bend by squeezing your core and reaching back just a little bit. Breathe in, and come to standing, hands together, bring them to your heart. Widen your feet a little bit wider than hip width. And you may need to turn your toes on a bit of an angle. So angle the toes out maybe at 45 degrees. We're squatting. Bring your hands to your heart. Take a breath in. And start to bend your knees. Bring your seat lower and lower towards the ground. Now for me, I always need to lift my heels up in order to get low to the ground. Some of you won't need to do that. Some of you will keep your feet on the floor the whole time. We're going up and down this way. So once you've settled into your squat, start to breathe in and stand back up. Good. Let's do it again. Let out all your air here. Breathe in as you start to descend into your squat. Elbows press the knees open, and as you breathe out, you'll come back to standing. Pause here for a breath. Let out all your air. Start to breathe in, descending into a squat. And as you breathe out, push yourself back to standing. Good, one breath here, last time. Let out all your air. See if you can do it with awareness of solar plexus. Breathe in as you go into your squat. Stay aware of solar plexus. Breathing out, come back to standing. Excellent. Let that go. Grab one more sip of water and we'll come back down to the floor. Lay on your side, please. Make sure you make your head comfortable so you can lay on your bent arm or your propped up arm with your hand holding up your head. The body's long and extended, lying on your side, fleshy part of your hip. So this is a core pose, but not too extreme. We've worked hard enough today. We're going to be lifting both our legs off the ground. So if you feel a bit tippy and you need to have the hand in front of you just to give you a bit of support, go ahead. Take a breath in here and let's see if you can lift both your legs off the ground. And back down, good. If you wish, you can try it with the hand resting on the hips. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, lift legs off the ground. You'll feel a little tippier. See if you can hold. One more breath. Bring them down and change sides. Same thing, make sure the head is comfortable, body's extended, lying on the side of your hip. Let's do this first one with the hand in front for stabilization. When you're ready, breathe in here, lying flat. When you breathe out, lift your legs. Bring them back down. And now you choose. Do you want to keep the hand stabilizing? Do you want to try the arm resting on the hip? Breathe in. As you breathe out, lift the legs. Little wobble for me. If you can, see if you can hold now. We've got 3 breaths here. Focus on your solar plexus. A big, sunny, yellow space. The place of your personal power and will. Bring them down. Excellent job. We are ready for Shavasana. You made it. I invite you to choose whether you'd like to be lying down for a very restful Shavasana or seated in a meditation position. And get any warmer layers back on. We have been working more, building some warmth. So you may start to cool down over the next few minutes. So take a few moments just to get yourself settled. And I invite you to acknowledge yourself. We did some new things today. We did some challenging poses today. So just take a moment to acknowledge yourself for however you engaged in those. Whatever decision you made about how your body should approach those poses today is excellent. Well done. Part of the work of the solar plexus chakra is knowing yourself so well that you can make decisions based on your own integrity, your own values. That includes the decisions you make about your yoga practice. So Find yourself in your quiet spot you created for your practice today. Lengthen your spine, whether you're lying or sitting. And make any adjustments here to become even more comfortable. Breathe normally, allowing yourself to settle. As we've been working with the chakras, we've done some visualizing. We're going to do that again today. If at any point what I'm offering isn't working for you, of course it's fine to just sit or lie down and simply breathe. It's your choice if you pay attention to my words. As you settle and begin to feel calm, pay attention to your breath in and your breath out. The quieter breaths now, in and out through the nose. On your next in-breath, if you like, visualize a beam of white light entering your body through the top of your head, your crown. Follow this light as it travels down your spine. Feel its energy collect at the base of the spine as you hold your breath for a moment. And when you're ready to breathe out, visualize this energy traveling back up your spine. Finally leaving again through the crown of the head. Do this a few times, just using the pace of your own breath. Breathing in the beam of white light through your crown, bringing it all the way down to the base of the spine. Feeling its energy collect at the base of the spine as you hold your breath. And when you breathe out, imagining that energy traveling back up, passing through each chakra, cleansing the chakras' impurities. Continue doing that a couple of more breath cycles. On your next breath, I invite you to bring the beam of white light down to the base of your spine like you've been doing. And when it's ready to continue its upward journey, pause at the area of the solar plexus, that area 2 to 3 inches above your navel. Visualize the color changing to a brilliant yellow. And let it continue up and out the crown again. Next breath, same thing. Bring the beam of white light down to the base of your spine. Hold. And then let it continue up to the solar plexus. And now we'll stay here for several breaths. Visualizing the area of the solar plexus. Imagining the color changing to a brilliant yellow. And as you breathe and notice this area, consider yourself a person endowed with independent choice in the expression of your will. Feel the clarity of your personal power. Firmly rooted in the values and convictions that you believe in. Feel yourself enter into a sense of total independence. And breathe this clarity into the world. I invite you to stay for one more minute, breathing into, holding at the solar plexus, and breathing out from there. Let's do one more minute silently. And now, take 3 deeper breaths. Sigh them out. Release anything remaining in the visualization. And start to move a little bit. Maybe your fingers and your toes. Stretch out the way your body wants to. Good. If you're lying down, please turn onto your side and push yourself up to sitting. If you're seated, you just have your hands on your knees, round through the shoulders, and arch a little bit, lifting at the sternum, breathing in, and then round through the shoulders and upper back, breathing out, and lift the sternum, breathing in. Be aware of the solar plexus now as we go back and forth. One more. Concave lift of the breastbone, breathing in. And one more rounding, breathing out. come to center and transition to standing for one breath of fire, then we will close. So slowly, because we have been down on the ground, take your time. Find your way to standing. And once you're standing, stand with your feet a little bit wider than hip width and your knees slightly bent. And place one hand on your belly and the other hand on your chest. We're about to use breath of fire to really exaggerate as we breathe using our diaphragm. The chest shouldn't be moving too much, but don't worry about it. We're just going to work on breathing forcefully. Make an ooh shape with your lips. We're going to suck the air in and out forcefully through that ooh shape. And we'll start by filling the diaphragm up. So take a sharp breath in. That should make the belly go big. And then force it out. That should force the belly back in. But don't worry. If your belly's doing it in reverse, it doesn't matter. Just breathe. Pause there. Take a moment. Wiggle the hips. Bend the knees. Let out all your air. We're going to do it again. Bend the knees a little bit faster. Pause. Good. Let that go. And one more time. This time, I invite you to put your hands together at your heart and to bend the knees a lot. So you're sticking your bum way out behind you. And we'll do the same thing. A breath of fire, sharp intake of air in and out, a little bit faster. Let that go. Come to standing hip width apart. Take your thumb into your hand. Inhale as you raise your arms up. Exhale through the mouth, shoulders low. Another breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Hands together, 2 breaths. Hands up, and then they come behind the neck or in front of the neck if you prefer. Full extension, breathing in. Open your arms up to your sides, breathing out. And then bring your hands together at the heart for one last breath. Namaste.